All right, so if you've been waiting for the housing market to crash here in Utah, it's not happening yet. Let's jump right in to our 2026 housing forecast. So, like I said, no crash yet. We are expecting continued appreciation and continued growth overall for the state. Here's a few things that we're looking at. All of this data I got from the Kim C. Gardner Institute, the University of Utah. They prepare all the data and even provide and consult with the governor. So this is from a forecast that I watched from their group. They do it every year for realtors and lenders in every different area of the state, and they tend to be pretty spot on unless something crazy happens. So here's a few reasons why we're expecting to see continued growth. We're still short on how many houses we need. If you've watched my other videos and even just, understand Utah and our culture, we have the largest sizes. So when you talk about, new households forming, whether once kids grow up and move on, create their own households, we have the biggest number of starting households. And because we have the youngest population, also means that, we aren't cycling through our housing inventory as much as like maybe say like a Florida that has a bunch of retirees, or Arizona where people are moving to once they retire, that kind of thing. We have a very young population. So over the next 10 years, we're expected that we'll need another 280,000 houses or homes. That number includes just places for people to live. So homes, townhomes, apartments, things like that. So I know that number, it seems crazy because we've been seeing so much building happening, but that's still just the reality based on our population and the migration numbers. We have seen our population, like our birth rate, drop a little bit, but we're seeing more migration into the state from other states. So yeah, still need more places to put everybody over the next 10 years. Another factor is our job market. We have a really strong job market. Our unemployment rate is less than the national average. If you look at how we did during and post-COVID, we had less job losses than the average across the country, and we recovered faster than most other states. So we've always had a really strong job market. Businesses like to come here. We don't have a really high business tax rate, stuff like that. It's a family-friendly area, all those things. So businesses like to come and people like to live here. Our consumer sentiment is higher than the national average. That's just kind of a rate that tells us, how people are feeling, how comfortable people are feeling about buying and spending money. For pulling Utahns versus compared to the national average, we feel a little safer spending money than other areas. Foreclosure risk is still really low. We're seeing a small, almost record low number of mortgage lates. The other X factor of that is the people who are in foreclosure or maybe are in trouble on making their house payment have quite a bit of equity if they bought pre-COVID or before. So seeing a possibility of a jump in foreclosures is still pretty low. If we see anything, we'll see short sales. The difference between a short sale and a foreclosure is when the bank just takes the home back and says, you don't live here anymore. The bank now is the owner of the home, and they go sell the home. A short sale is you still sell the home as the individual owner of the house, but or maybe you're not going to be able to sell for as much as what you owe on the home. They're going to let you do a short sale before they do the foreclosure process. Banks don't really want to foreclose on you, but again, data-wise, we're just not really seeing that is an issue. Where we are seeing consumers get in trouble with their debt is on like student loans, credit cards, cars. It's our younger population who probably aren't homeowners yet, but people who are homeowners are doing really well and making those payments, kind of maintaining that. So reality is we still have an affordability issue. So if you are a first-time homebuyer, it doesn't sound like that's going to get any easier. Renting right now is actually cheaper than owning. If you're gonna own a home, that payment comes at a premium, which isn't fun to say. That's not always been the case, but we do think that rents will continue to come up, and that discrepancy will even out over the next few years. Those are kind of the main things that we know. We have data on. The X factors are what happens with tariffs over this coming year. And long term, more in the future, is we're having the Olympics come here again in 2034. If you see my little thing here, I lived here when we had the Olympics. It was crazy to see the growth that happened post Olympics. So we will see, probably, maybe not in the next couple of years, but in the in the next 5-6 years, we'll probably start seeing quite a bit of investment coming in to the state. So any of those properties around Olympic venues are probably going to be at a premium at that time. So something to consider. Good news we have is Weber County is the most affordable county in like northern Utah, at least. If you look at southern Utah, surrounding counties of Washington County are doing really well. Iron County, so those commuter counties are really where your value is. So if you have a job where you can work from home, or if you have a flexible schedule and you can commute, consider looking at some of those, a little bit further away from the big hubs like Salt Lake or St. George. So we are seeing a little bit of a lull right now. And like I said, we do think things will continue to appreciate, but not crazy. So now's a good opportunity to buy, especially if you're willing to buy a home that's a little bit of a fixer-upper, or look for those properties that have been on the market for a long time. Those are going to be your more motivated sellers. The homes that are immaculate, in beautiful condition, priced well, those will and have always been really competitive properties. So there are opportunities if you want to look for them. Might not be your ideal forever home, but that's really never been where people start. Most people want to start out with like checking all the boxes of what they want on their dream home, and that's just not really reality, especially right now. Not to be a downer, but you will need to make some concessions. So, look for things like home size, neighborhood that you want, those kind of things. But if there's cosmetic things that you can fix over time, look over those kind of things. Especially if you're a handy type person, maybe you can find a home with like an unfinished basement and put in a bedroom and a bathroom down the road. Those are going to be huge opportunities for you. If you're going to look for the house that doesn't need to have anything touched, you can just totally move it in. Not to say they don't exist, but they're going to come at a premium and you're going to compete for those. So watch for your opportunities. Look in your kind of commuter cities and counties for opportunities on affordability. Definitely consider condos, townhomes, just to kind of get into the lower price point of the market. Or if you really want to start out in a home as a first-time home buyer, then you're going to go smaller, older. Like I said, probably need some work. Rate-wise, projections are we stay a little flat for the year, maybe improve a touch, but we're probably in this same, where things ended in 2025, will probably continue into 2026 with slight improvement. The things that the Fed looks at before they change any monetary policy are jobs and inflation. So if job growth really slows, they probably won't make any changes to the Fed rate. If job growth does well, but inflation's out of control, then yes, they will probably cut rates. So we're not really expecting anything dramatic there. Again, tariffs will be big X factor on that. But I think this is kind of that stabilization that I've been hoping for, maybe not as affordable as everybody would want. It sounds like this is the year everybody thinks so things will kind of mellow out. So if you've been on the fence, maybe now is the time to get off the fence, kind of look at things. So if you have questions, shoot me a message. I'd be happy to chat and answer any questions that you have. And if you can give me a subscribe and a follow, comment, any of those kind of things, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you.